There is a massive van life lie that most YouTubers won't talk about because it spoils the dream. We all see the videos of people travelling around Europe in the summer, parking wherever they want, totally free and off-grid. But they rarely show you the reality. And that reality is heat. The truly awful, unbearable heat inside a van. Regardless of your budget, whether you own a DIY camper van, a luxury motorhome, or a tiny caravan, one brutal truth unites us all. The constant battle of trying to stay cool in a giant tin box full of glass. Today, we're going to cover the physics of why that 50mm wall of insulation you spent days installing is almost useless in July and August. Why your expensive thermal blinds are actually acting like a radiator and making your van hotter. The harsh thermal tax you pay just for picking the wrong paint colour. The multi-thousand-pound aircon trap, and why most units are completely useless the second you go off-grid. We're also sharing the best free hacks to survive the peak of the summer, looking at the real-world gear available for 3 different budgets, and revealing after years of indecision the system we finally chose. Let's dive into one of the most brutally honest van living conversations you will ever watch on YouTube. Today we wanted to talk about something that is a right royal pain in the arse when it comes to being in a van. It's something we've kind of tried to make a decision on previously, but kept on putting off. Typically the way we've done it is by trying to get the heat out by having a window open and an air fan and trying to circulate the air. But once you get over a certain temperature, it's just an impossible task. Last year in France was the straw that broke the camel's back. It got up to, was it 43 degrees one day?
Yeah, 43 degrees in the day. And then at night time it was still early 30s. It just didn't cool down, did it?
We was only in the southwest of France. We went to an area called Gers and we booked like an old house with Kate's mum and dad, my mum and the kids. We just thought that was like this kind of freak weather that doesn't happen very often. But we spoke to the vet when we was getting the dog sorted out, and he just said that every 2 years now they're getting this kind of 2 to 4 weeks of really intense heat in France now that they never used to get at all.
And that's early summer as well. That's not like July and August, is it?
When was we away?
That was June.
That was June.
Mid-June.
And what I was starting to find was when I was away and I was trying to do video calls or do bits of work or just have a sort of half day or a full day where I'm trying to work, it was almost impossible in terms of trying to handle, this is where the dog wheezes up my camera. That's a girl anyway. It was just kind of, when the weather was getting up there, when the heat was getting up there, it was just impossible to work from the van. To speed this story up, to not labour the point, Kate's mum got really ill when we was travelling to the house, and their air conditioning system was only kind of working half. They've got a motorhome as well. And she got really ill and we thought we was gonna have to kind of go to the hospital. Luckily, we managed to get her into our van and then just leave her in there to kind of cool down. Like we had the aircon from the cabin. When I was doing that, I had a chat with, there was a Dutch couple next to us. They were sort of saying, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, everything's fine. She's just, struggling with the heat. Like, oh, you guys are crazy. You English, you come over, you've got no air conditioning. We were like, yeah, but we've got air conditioning in the cab. You don't need it. You get somewhere, you get in the shade.
In a van, it's just becomes a bit impossible, doesn't it?
We were like, right, well, how do we handle it? And the options that we started to shortlist were fans, which we've realised just don't work. Trying to go for something that's some kind of portable air conditioning system. Having done the research and spoken to people, customers of ours, they were just saying it's just not enough, doesn't provide enough power to get the temperature down. I think your attitude was, we need some kind of air conditioning system, but they take a lot of power, so how's that going to work? My sort of approach to it was, well, what's the science? Why are we getting too hot? Is it our van? Is it the colour of the van? Is it that we didn't put enough insulation in? But when we looked at it, like the facts are, our van is insulated with either 50mm PIR or 20mm PIR. So PIR is the Kingspan style insulation that you see. And then wherever we were able to use that insulation, we're using microfleece, which is like the Dodo Mat or other brands where it's the white Thinsulate branded sort of style insulation. So we've insulated the van. The only area we've not insulated is the floor. And then we looked at the science around the colour of the van, because ours is a sort of light grey. And the reality is that the colour of the van isn't about whatever colour it is, i.e. white's better than pink or green or red or whatever. And it's how light versus how dark is the colour. And we started to do the math around it, because I'll put a table up to talk you through it. Ours is like a Volkswagen Pure Grey it's called, it's like a light grey. We're actually on the side where it shouldn't be affecting us too much. And then when we started to speak to people, as we were dealing with the heat a lot more, even people in white vans that didn't have aircon were struggling.
Yeah, motorhomes as well.
Yeah.
Generally are all white, aren't they?
Colour of the van wasn't a problem. The insulation wasn't a problem. I was like, right, well, have we got more glass than others? And
We haven't even got any like ceiling windows, whatever they're called.
Yeah, skylights.
Skylights, yeah.
So then you were saying, well, we've got thermal blinds, so we should be okay. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So I started to look into the science of what's going on with the thermal blinds. And to a certain degree, it's actually making matters worse. What's happening is you've got 3 different ways that energy can kind of move through something. So you've got convection, which is obviously like heat rising and heat moving through a liquid or gas. Then you've got conduction, which is heat traveling through an object. And then you've got radial heat. What's happening is goes through the glass as one length of energy, hits the inside of the thermal blind, converts to a different wavelength of energy, and it can't get back out. And then it's storing that heat on the inside of the blind. And because the blinds are not kind of airtight, it's just leaking out into the van. And again, I'll put some figures up. Depending on the thickness of your insulation, the watts of heat will travel through from the skin of that van through into it will effectively slow the absorption of that heat. But whichever way you cook it, literally, excuse the pun, more heat's traveling through the glass. Typically, if you say the 600 watts of energy coming through the tin and through the insulation, it's anywhere from 15 to 30% of the van, excluding the floor, is glass. You are pulling in around 2,500 to 3,000 watts of energy from the glass. Depending on how energy efficient the rest of the van is in terms of insulation, the majority of the heat is coming through the glass. So then we looked at like what are the practicalities of how you can reduce heat in a van. When we was in France, we were not far from the Pyrenees. As soon as we'd had the holiday, we were near the pool and all the rest of it, and we dropped my mum and the kids off airport, we were like, right, what do we do? So we just headed for the mountains. So we headed for the Pyrenees, and typically for every 100 meters you climb, you reduce the temperature by 1 degree. So we just went to the top of a ski resort and just stayed there. It was lovely, and it felt like a real relief, didn't it, from like the 40
I think it
degrees.
got down to about 25, didn't it?
So it was like from 40s to 25, it was like it's a massive relief. So you can get up into the hills and reduce the heat that way. Go in shade, trees, canopies, whatever, which can generally work. Or one of the things that we found is like parking the van in a way where less of the surface is hitting the sun. So typically what we're talking about is putting the arse of the van into direct sunlight and trying to reduce the amount of radiant heat that's hitting the tin of the van and then becoming conducted heat, i.e. it's going to then travel through the van. And that only works to a certain degree.
What we found last year, when we came back down from the mountains when we were travelling back and it was still really hot, because the air is so hot and there's not really any breeze, like you can't get away from it. Everything
looks great on paper in theory, but then you're enjoying your time because you're in a sunny climate. You open a big sliding door, and then any chance you've had to try and keep cool in the van, all that cool air just bellows out of the bottom of the door and you're back to square one.
Yeah.
So you're just basically struggling with it. You've tried to keep the heat out, you stayed in the shade, but the problem we've been sort of seeing is that the van acts like a stone in a fire. Just everything heats up. It travels through the van, into all the fabric of the van, into all the cushions, into everything. It just heats up. And then trying to get that heat down, it's almost impossible. So you then going, right, well, the only way we're going to do it is through some kind of mechanical reduction in heat, i.e. air conditioning or something else. We've looked at loads of things, like not eating dairy and meat because your core body temperature will go up if you're eating those types of foods. Staying hydrated. You look at all these different things and it's pissing in the wind. It's just not getting the temperature down enough. And then you hit, right, I'm just going to nip here and go to the supermarket. So Katie or me, one of us will say, right, I'll stay here with the dogs.
You can't go in together because you have to leave the van running, keep the aircon going to make it comfortable in the van, especially for the dog. The whole thing of being in the UK where you leave your window open for a little bit because it never gets too hot, whereas there, it just wasn't even an option, was it? Generally in the UK as well, like, yeah, all right, we've had some hotter weather, but it gets past like, 8, 9 o'clock at night and the temperature drops. Whereas I think in Europe, south of France, like that just didn't happen,
Just didn't happen, no.
It just did not happen. Like you were still sweating at night time.
Before doing this video, I spoke to a couple of people that I know on YouTube that are in the van overseas, and they were like, yeah, it's horrible. Like you're doing a video where you're talking to camera and you kind of selling the dream, and then off camera, you just try to get out the van as fast as possible because it's just boiling hot. Everything else about it, like being able to not always pay for camping, traveling about, seeing places that you'd never normally see, staying in places that you never normally see. It lives up to everything that you'd expect traveling in a van to be.
Yeah.
But the one thing that we've been struggling with is the heat.
Yeah.
Getting our van warm, even down to -14, which is the lowest temperature we've been down to.
Yeah. That's easy, isn't it?
That's easy.
Yeah.
You put a diesel heater on, you turn it up, and it's problem solved. It doesn't matter how much or little insulation you've got. It's a small room, and heating that room up is piss easy. Trying to stay cool in a van without any type of air conditioning is almost impossible.
Yeah. Unless you're dousing yourself in water every 20 minutes, which isn't practical when you want to go to sleep at night.
So you're going, right, well, we've got to do something. Portable conditioning systems, EcoFlow have got a cracking little system, about 700 quid, something like that. First problem is, will it reduce the heat enough to make a difference? The second problem is then where you're venting it. So most people are trying to get some kind of piece of wood or a piece of plastic or a pre-made thing that will vent it out the window. The next problem we found was the noise. Air conditioning compressor is then in the van, that's the thing that makes the most noise. Then you've got to put it somewhere in the van, and having a tube hanging out the window is not the most elegant solution.
I'm not going to lie, it is a bit of apparatus.
Next up is a kind of bench unit, where it's a bigger unit that's in foam and will be a little bit quieter, but then it's still not as quiet. It's got to go in the van somewhere, so you've got to find a storage place for it. And then you've got to vent it, so you've then got to vent it into the van, and typically if you've got it stored up somewhere, it's going to be relatively low down, and then you're pushing the cold air out to the bottom of the van, again because of convection, that cold air is going to stay low down and not really cool the rest of the van. We toyed with that idea, and then we're like, right, okay, well, let's stop beating around the bush. It's going to be a roof-mounted system. You go, right, okay, well, let's do the research on what the roof-mounted systems are, and then you're kind of going, right, well, depending on the energy that they take, how practical is that going to be? And some of the systems that we started to look at were systems that were around sort of 1,200 quid, 1,500 quid by brands like Truma, Dometic, that were either on or off. So it's like driving a car down the motorway. You've either got your foot to the floor and it's sucking all the power and giving you the full cooling, or it's off. So it's like a fridge, you'll hear it come on, go off, come on, go off. That didn't seem very practical because you don't want something going full blast with using all your energy and making loads of noise when you try to sleep, read, or do whatever you're doing in a van.
Yeah.
So we're like, I don't know if this is gonna, we didn't know what the solution was. I started doing a bit of research around air conditioning systems that will actually modulate the power, but then it started to get a bit more expensive. And then what I realized was when I looked at each of the systems that were more energy efficient, you're going from 1,500 quid up to a couple of grand and more, and with every single brand, whether that was Dometic, Truma, Urbaspasha, it was a jump in technology that then meant it was a big jump in terms of the actual cost. And we've just been sort of toying around the edges of what we should and shouldn't do, and then we realised like we're going to have to go for one of those. And then the decision-making process is, how big is it going to be on the roof? We've got a grey van, so we wanted like a black or grey. We do a lot of off-roading and like down trails and where there's low overhanging branches, so can it handle branches? Can it handle hail?
Didn't want it too big, did we?
We didn't want it sort of a bit of an eyesore on the roof. And then on the inside, we were thinking, right, well, we're going to go with it at the back of the van over the bed, and then you're right, well, the air distribution panel, we want it to be as small as possible. Don't we're waking up in the middle of the night and banging your head. And then we're going, right, well, a lot of them have lights like the fans do. So
Yeah.
you go in, we want a light that can be dimmed right down, a light that could be adjusted, so instead of just being a bright blue, we want something that's a bit of a warm light. These seem really finicky, stupid things that I'm kind of talking about, but this was generally what we're trying to figure out when we're shortlisting them.
Yeah, because it was going to be replacing the fan, wasn't it,
Yeah.
as well, which had gone from having quite neat, it had a light on it, although that was quite a bright light as well.
If you watch some of our old videos, we had a Maxxair fan, which swore at more than any other thing I've ever had in my van or life. We just had a bad experience with it. It was noisy, squeaking. Honestly, I won't go on, that's a separate story, but we replaced that with the Air Plus, which is a brushless motor, which again, I've told a lot of people about. We don't actually sell it, but I've told a lot of people about and raved about it. That's been a lot better. So we wanted something to replace that, and we want something that's quiet, something that doesn't take too much power, something that when we're driving and using the extra energy, or we're on a campsite, that we can then use the extra power to really drive it's powerful enough basically. Not too big on the top of the roof, the right colour, something that's hard wearing, so we don't want something that's flimsy plastic. The inside power distribution panel to be as neat as possible. Ideally, if it's got app control or the dimmable lights. We didn't want much then, did we?
No, not at all. I think you was more, I mean, we kind of knew what we wanted and if it was replacing the fan, but I think you was more into that side of it. I just knew that we needed to cool the van down more than anything for sleeping at night and the dogs.
I think the reality, I think there's a lot of our customers like this. Like if you are semi-retired or retired and you want to spend more time in Europe and you want to go and enjoy the warmer weather, you've got to find a solution.
Yeah. I think the way we look at it as well, it's like you wouldn't go to like one of the hotter countries like Greece or Cyprus or Turkey, and you probably wouldn't book accommodation that didn't have air conditioning.
Yeah, that's true.
So in them sort of countries, you're going to need it. And you know, you're in a big airy room or apartment or something there. Whereas in a van, you're in a small space. That's your accommodation.
I think the reality is like not everyone can afford it. It's a bit of a flex, it's a bit of a luxury. We've held off for a while, but I think when it comes to the crunch, you've invested a lot of time in building a van or buying a van.
Yeah.
And then the one thing you want to do, like, doesn't matter if you've got fancy wheels or it doesn't matter if you've got the biggest, best fridge or whatever it may be. If you're boiling hot in a van, it's going to totally ruin the experience.
Yeah, and I know obviously you can sit outside in the day or whatever. It's at night time when you're trying to sleep.
Travelling's a biggie.
Travelling, yeah. And I know, right, you can have your aircon on and things like that, but as soon as you jump out your van, open your door, open your windows, you're back to square one again.
So we've installed. You asked what my channel was? Ahoy, leisure. Yeah. Give us a sub. Don't be tight. To wrap it up, we were racking our brains trying to find a cheaper way of doing it. And then, I mean, we sell kit, so we're in a privileged position, but we were also getting asked by a lot of customers about like how I'm thinking of an air conditioning system. What would you go for? And we were like, we don't know. Dave, who was our first customer to ever have the additional battery, he's travelling to Canada next year and he's had aircon and he's absolutely raves about it. So it's definitely not a cheap option. We're getting ready to go to Europe this year.
I think we've suffered enough, haven't we? I think that's the problem.
I think if it wasn't for the dogs, or I think if we weren't going that far south, I think we'd just do without it again. The thought of trying to handle it again, if it starts to get into the late 30s this year, it's just too much. I put a bit of footage over on what I've installed. It was surprisingly easy to install. Normally a lot of these things, like with Truma Dometic Urbaspasher, they sort of say, oh, it's got to be a registered installer to put it in. But honestly, it was as easy as an air fan. There's three components. You have the rooftop system. We already had a hole, so I had to get all the mastic off from the Air Plus. You have then a frame that goes on, rooftop unit sits on that, and then you have air distribution panel that goes underneath, 4 bolts then hold it together, and then there's literally 2 wires. There's comms connection, like a little push click thing between the rooftop mounted unit and the air distribution panel, 1 cable for 230 volt connection, which we daisy chained off my last socket in the van, so it was dead easy. The biggest job was just trying to get the mastic off from where I'd glued. It
was one of those jobs on it where it was like, oh, it won't take me long.
Yeah.
And then 10 o'clock at night.
I looked at the instructions and thought it'd take me a couple of hours, and then it was just, getting that mastic off was using loads of like glue remover. So let you know, get on. We went with the Urbaspasher Breezonic Slim. So Breezonic is their range of products that have this new regulating compressor, which is more energy efficient, and the Slim is the smaller version of it. The HP is high powered, so it's the highest powered of the Slim that we went for in the end. We went with the black hood, which is almost like this kind of like really dark grey.
Yeah, it's more like an anthracite.
The main thing we want to do with this video is just say why we've effectively gone for it. We're not just being a bit bougie and all of a sudden sticking aircon on our van. We've genuinely struggled, and then just set up a bit of a platform for anyone who's got any questions, really. Likewise, if any manufacturers have got portable units or there's anything that you can do for offers with our customers and viewers, give us a shout, because I think May was one of them things when I think a lot of people struggled with the heat. So anyway, jump in the comments, let us know what you think, and we'll let you know how we get on.